So welcome to Not Another Business Podcast. I am here with the beautiful, stunning Ryo Love. I'm just going to do a longer introduction for you. It gives you a little bit longer to breathe. Is that okay?
I'd love to breathe.
Take a breath.
Okay.
All right. Ryo doesn't do stuff like this. This is very, very unusual for her. In fact, she's actually telling me this is the first time she's ever spoken on anything like this. She has the most beautiful, beautiful story. And I would be an idiot not to share this with you because I know that it's going to help so many of you. So, what do you do? How would you describe what your current business is? Let's start with that.
My business is
Yeah.
making resin crystal jewelry on chains, to just be very specific with it.
Yeah.
But what I do is just express my creativity and just, getting to see you wear them, and it just means absolutely everything to me.
I am literally wearing one right now. So this is my story of me meeting you. We've got friends of friends. I've seen you around. I think the best thing to do actually would even just be pause this and go on your Instagram for a second, whoever's listening, and just look at this amazing, this woman. She's just powerful and confident, and she's barely ever wearing any clothes. And you're quite, honestly, Rio, you're quite you do look quite intimidating actually, just because you're so,
people do say that.
yeah, you're so fabulous. So I've seen her online, and I've seen how amazing she looks, and you look like an alternative model that's just, I don't know, smashing the world, right? And I knew of you, we kind of passed each other a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And then I got to know you as a real person, and actually there's quite a difference in you and that person that people think you are. And in short, I'm going to tell the story first. I'm going to tell the story first. Okay. So in short, I knew that you were working, or you told me that you were working on the trains. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. You were hostess with the mostess. And you told me that you had this dream that you wanted to make necklaces. Because how long have you been working on the trains?
8 years.
8 years, right. Years, yeah. And you wanted to make these necklaces, but what was getting in the way? Can you tell me about that?
I worked on the trains for 8 years, and it actually wasn't starting with necklaces. It was starting with the brownies.
Yeah, because that was your first business. Okay.
Yeah, so that never got launched. That was the original plan.
So coming back to your thought process then, right? You're doing 8 years in the same job.
Yeah.
You like it? You don't like it?
No.
You don't like it, right? You're doing 8 years in the same job, and you start to think, right, I want to sell my brownies. I make really good brownies, right?
Yeah.
Is that because you want to have your own business? Is it when you want to do your own thing? Did you see it as an escape? Why do you think I want to start making brownies as a business?
The truth?
Yeah, God, fuck it. Tell me.
Okay. A breakdown.
Yeah.
That's how it all really spiraled.
Yeah.
After COVID and going through furlough, going back to work. I mean, no one really gets time to just be creative. You work 5 days a week, you come back, you're tired, you might have 2 days off, and you might be, I might be partying, I might be doing shoots, but I had this pure time to just be creative. And I went down so many avenues of I did nail art again, I did makeup, I did close-up lip art, I gardened, I baked. And then when I went back to work, and I was so depressed, I came home crying every day, and I was like, is this my life? Is this gonna always be my life? I feel this creativity inside of me that just wants to come out, but I'd given up a long time ago.
But why'd you give it up? Why?
Just thinking I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
I think that's a kind of core thing. Yeah. Feeling is I did, bar work, I did retail, I never thought I could make money being creative. I completely gave up on that. That was never even an option for me. I would just do creative things, but I never could work out how to actually make money being creative. So I gave up on that completely.
Do you feel confident in your beauty?
Oh my God.
You don't?
No.
She's so hot. It's ridiculous. You don't?
No.
But you're really good at knowing how to dress. You know how to work your body shape. You know how to do all that stuff. You're good at makeup. You don't see that?
No. But I'm trying my best to work on it, and that's I guess it's baby steps.
Mm.
I've come a long way. I've come along, like last year, or I guess maybe the year before was, like I said, baby steps. But I really, really struggled with my confidence, my appearance, my body. I would just look in the mirror and just go, just, and no one would ever know. I would just, you put on a front, but
Yeah.
lots of progression.
I
with
wonder why
self-hate.
then. I don't know this. Oh, thank you for saying that out loud. No,
I was
well
getting a
done.
bit.
No, well done. No, well done. I wonder why some women, when they're not comfortable with the way they look, will do the opposite. So they will,
I
you know what I
know,
mean?
yeah.
So it's interesting because when you follow people on Instagram and, people might follow me or other people that are my friends, and you think, oh, they're so confident because the way that they deal with not liking their body is by covering it up, by trying to disappear.
Yeah.
Yet you're not disappearing.
No.
So what do you think causes you to keep, there's a part of you that is not wanting to be dimmed.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess there's this battle between, you hate yourself, but then if you don't create something, then you hate yourself more because you think that you failed, so you just keep going. It's hard to explain, but you'll still do the shoot, you'll still do it, but then before you do it, you'll have maybe a little wobbly or a breakdown, but then you still pull through, and then you post the picture anyway, and then you carry on. But yeah, I'm still working on it.
I explain this to be like, so this is through, we're going to talk about business in a minute. I feel like this is kind of it doesn't matter. But I explain it like going into business is like, I see it. I'm a very visual person. I see it like a wobbly bridge, like on a cartoon when the bit of wood is like missing and it's like rickety or whatever, and it's going across a big Grand Canyon. And like, you're looking at the bridge and you're like, I want to go over it. I really want to do it. And then, I don't know, maybe you speak to your friends that might have been on the bridge before and how did it go for you? And then you have all this self-doubt of like, oh, I could never cross it. It's only for people that are much stronger or braver than me or whatever. And you can get all of this advice and have all these conversations and all of this doubt. And then at one point, you actually just need to close your fucking eyes and blindly walk, like just blind. Because there's only so much chatting, there's only so much talking you can do. At some point, you just have to go, I'm doing it. And I feel like that's what you just said to me then before you're shooting. It's like, I feel awful, I feel terrible, I don't want to do it, but I'm just going to close my eyes and keep walking.
Yeah. Because it's like, if you keep walking, you're still getting there, even if you're just doing this and you're just hoping for the best.
But that's braver than people that just walk in that room and think, fuck it, take my picture. Or like, I can do this, or I can run this business. The brave people are not people that are not scared. They're the people that are really scared and they're still doing it. They're the most brave people, aren't they?
Oh, good.
You're going to make me cry.
I feel like
So you did the brownies, did that for a bit.
No, I never even got launched.
You never launched it? Just for friends and stuff?
No, I mean, so when I got into my creative streak, when I got this beautiful time, when I know everything was, the world was terrible and everyone was depressed, I was having the best time. I was getting to be creative, which I felt like after I did art in school, I went to college, I went to uni, and I gave that up, so it was like, that was gone for me. I can't remember exactly when in my life, but it was like, you're not good enough. You'll never be good enough, except you're going to work a, minimum paid job and just get on with it. So when I had all this time to be creative and I was still getting paid, I was like, this is great. I'm having the best time. Because
there's a furlough, right?
So I was being furloughed. The trains, they looked after me like that. So I'm very, very grateful. A lot of people lost their jobs and then I felt guilty,
I know that feeling,
I felt guilty because I was enjoying myself and other people were struggling. And then when I came back to work and I just broke, I would just come home and just cry every day. And I was like, and then I snapped. Full breakdown, full breakdown. And I just didn't leave the bed for days. And I was just like, I have to change my life because if I am in this rock bottom state, what do I have to lose? So change your life.
And you did.
I did. So I was like, core things, what makes me happy? Creativity and making other people happy. When I bake brownies, people would be like, these are the best I've ever tasted. So I'm like, I can be creative doing that, you know. I can do like fun branding and photo shoots, and we were gonna do this sexy baking
Of
brownie.
course you were.
Oh yeah,
Of course you were.
lingerie, you know, going maybe live every Wednesday. You see me bake the brownies, and you know, I was making these like isomalt crystal brownie hearts, and I was getting really creative with the whole process of it. And then we had to go down the route of, if I'm gonna launch this brand, me and my partner Dan, we lived in one room for 3 years to save for a house. So we literally lived in one tiny room, which is the same size as our living room now in our house. And we decided we obviously needed to get a kitchen. Can't have a baking business when our kitchen was like, I swear, like a tiniest walkway. As in, you couldn't fit 2 people in there. You couldn't even fit like a full freezer or anything. With the tiniest freezer, it was just, yeah. And we had like a shared bathroom. It was a lot. People, I don't think could have lived how we lived for that amount of time.
But what I love, and like this is the kind of stuff I champion, Rio, is like most people are not willing to go down to go back up.
Yeah.
Like you're saying you're saving for a house. Some people will continue to rent a nice house and rent a nice car, and they will continue doing that. I mean, some people are not in a position to ever do it. So if that's you, that's not what I'm saying. But the people that are like, no, I'm going to squish myself in a tiny room. And this is going to be really tough because we have this dream.
Yeah.
I really admire that.
Anyone that ever came there was like, what the fuck? Like, you guys live here? And I'm like, yeah, because it's the cheapest rent I could possibly get that had its own kitchen.
Yeah.
That's literally why I chose it. And we decided to look for a house, which was a whole ordeal. If anyone's bought a house, it's the most emotional, heartbreaking thing that's ever happened. It was so up and down. We didn't know if we were going to get it until the very, very end, you know, to the very end of 6 months. And then when we got it, we moved in literally a year ago next month. And we got in 1 month. And at this time, I was like playing with resin because we went to a festival. And this is the core of the story. I always wanted a big chunky crystal on a chain. You know, it's something I've always wanted personally. So I had like different like molds that I was using to make these crystal brownie hearts. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to play with that. Made it, you know, just kind of like worked with some of the stuff that I already had. You know, I had chains and things. And then I wore it to the festival and people just kept complimenting it. I was like, okay, maybe this could be something I could practice with before the brownies. So when we got into the house, the only 2 things we brought was a pizza oven, because we love pizza, and the compression tankers, which are what I use to put the resin in, so everything's like completely clear. So I use that. And then it went from there. Literally a month after moving in, I just launched. I have no plan, no idea, didn't think about what I was doing. I just thought I'll put them up and see what happens. And
I remember I met you, like maybe just a little time after that, because you'd sent me one, right?
Yeah.
And what I found that was like really difficult for me to hear from you was like, yeah, I'd like to do this more, but you know, I don't know if everyone will like them, or you know, some people like them, or I get really what did you say to me? Like you were like crying when someone would buy one for the first time, right? But I was really shocked from you. I didn't know this from you. Like I'm just jumping a little bit in the story, but you're having a lot of emotion with the fact that this might even work.
Yeah. I was more just shocked, and even now, every drop, I'm like still shocked. Like it hasn't almost still really sunk in that this is my life, because if you could take where it came from, someone who literally had thought I had no worth and thought I was going to spend the rest of my life and you know just doing something like serving tea and coffee, you know, which nothing wrong with that, but that's what I was doing. And I felt trapped, to suddenly having something that's working and it's everything I wanted. It's creative and it's
You should be so proud of yourself. And when I spoke to you and you were like, I can't believe people are wearing these.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I didn't expect it. I thought I was going to sell 2. I genuinely, you can ask, I was like, maybe I'll sell 2, that would be nice. And then I'll have a little bit of business practice for when I have the brownies. That was the plan. I was like, and I literally said, I was like, it'll ease me in gently. It didn't ease me in, you know, every drop, it was just more demand, selling out faster. And then it just, the brownies never even got a look in. I don't even have time to bake. I don't have time to do anything like that. It's just every day I'm just working on on the crystals.
And I remember this really exciting time. And again, this podcast is so good for anyone that's like right at that point where they don't know whether to make a jump or whether they're not believing in themselves right now. And I remember, you'd sent me this necklace, which I absolutely loved, and I was wearing it all the time.
I remember you said you didn't like silver, and I was like, well, I only had silver at the time. And I was like, I see you wearing this a lot.
I wear it all the time. And, I just remember you'd gone part-time, right? Or you were just like, you'd not quite. And I remember this whole thing about you just wanted to be able to earn enough money to quit your job. And it was the countdown. Can you quit your job? And then I remember I was literally like wearing these every day for about 6 months. I was like, everywhere I went, I'd get compliments on them. And it became a bit addictive because everyone would compliment them. And then I'd want to wear more. And then bless you, you kept sending me more. And FYI, anyone listening, this was not an official like influencer relationship. This was, someone I met who I wanted to support, who was sending me some stuff who I was wearing all the time. And then I remember, literally everyone I know has one of these now. Like I see them on everyone's Instagrams. And then, and I just remember that day that you quit your job, and I was just like on the bus and I'd seen it and I was just crying. I was just like, you fucking did it. Like you did it, like
that video you made for me, like, and then it was like, and then she did it. And I just remember just crying because I was like, no one's ever like put it that way before, like really like heard my story, like how you heard it and took real emotion to it, that you cared so much, that you really cared so much. And it just meant so much to me. It was like you listened and you cared and you made this video and you put it online so people knew. And I remember you were like, is it okay to say about your job and stuff? Because it's not something I would talk about, and say like, this is my job before. And I was like, no, maybe I need to be a bit more real and be like, this is what's happened.
Yeah, I think and we'll come on to the business side. This is the second part of the chat. But I think sharing your story, like when it comes to brands, yes, people are buying into your visual, your fabulousness, you're beautiful, like all of these things, but you're way more interesting than that. Like your story is more interesting than that. It's more inspiring. People want to wear your jewelry, I think, because of that. Not everyone. Some people are just going pure visual, but a lot of people, more people, in fact, I think, want to buy it because of your story, because of supporting you. And I think a lot of people are it's scary, isn't it? Like it's scary to bring forward your vulnerability and your story, but humans, they buy into humans, not brands. And it's especially now in history, people care more about people than they do about corporate. In fact, people fucking hate corporations. This is the time of the entrepreneur. This is the time of a natural story. So I feel like people are really they want to hear from you, which is amazing. I'm going to boast on behalf of you just for a second. You just told me that you hit 1,000 units. And these are 1,000 units of things that, what's the price point?
So like this one's 40, this one's 45.
Okay, so around and up to like 60. Some of them 50. I've seen a 50 one.
50. So it's £5 extra anything that glows in the dark, and like I do ones with like tiny like flowers and butterflies. I charge 75 for those. So that's the most expensive.
Okay, so 1,000 units, everyone, working it out. Now there's a lot of hours involved in that. We're going to talk about the hours and stuff. And then, do you mind me talking about how much you made last year?
Oh, you can work it out, yeah.
Well, you told me it was 60 grand. Was it?
So on my past job.
I know I can't work it out. That's too much math for me. So yeah, you can tell me. Okay,
you work it
all right.
out.
Tell me your past job. Yeah, go on. Let's start there.
So 17 grand a year.
17 grand a year before. And what now?
60.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I couldn't be happier for you.
We actually just worked it out yesterday. We had a business meeting and I hadn't worked it out, and we actually sat down and obviously went through all the money things and stuff. Thank you.
That's all right. So what we're going to do on this part of the podcast, if that's okay, because that was an amazing story, is we're going to knock out like what is going on in your business now, because you're making these by hand, right? Like this. I have a lot of followers who make stuff, actually, and I've got a lot of friends that make stuff, and I'm perfectly aware of the labor intensity of what you're doing. But what I'm seeing now, what I saw in myself as well, because don't forget, I'm a hairdresser by trade, so it's a labor intense job as well, is you are living the dream right now. Like this is your dream, but it's hard work, really hard work. It's a lot more pressure probably than you've been used to. You're being like called at all directions. But I'm interested to what your life could look like in the next few years, how you balance this out, how you scale it if you can. As someone that, if you don't mind me saying, lives with anxiety, and so do I, being a business owner and living with anxiety is not fun.
Yeah.
So in one hand, I feel like it's like you're living your dream, you're getting like, people are admiring what you do, you're like, it's everything you dreamed of. And in the other hand, it's like all of the worst things for your personality type.
Yeah.
You're ADHD as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's you're trying not to forget stuff. You're multitasking several things, and you're halfway through a panic attack and trying to do all of that.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh yeah. You told me.
So let's start by just identifying like what it is you're struggling with right now.
Oh.
Like right now.
I guess what I'm struggling with is the supply and demand. Like, too many people want what I make. So when I do my drops, they sell out so fast now that it disappoints a lot of people. And my business is my baby. It's my everything. And it hits me really hard to disappoint people. And it sets my anxiety off to the point where I'm terrified to open my emails. My anxiety is like the highest you could ever imagine. And at the same time, I can have my friends with the counter argument is, how amazing is your business that people are so angry that they can't get it and that it's sold out in 10 minutes. That's amazing. When in fact, I'm so deflated because I answer each message. I want to talk, I want to explain to people, because I think some people do just think I'm, sort of shop a factory. It's like, it's not my hands that made each item. I can't make any more, than what I make. And so I try.
And your hands and Dan's hands now as well?
Well, Dan doesn't make the crystals, but
he's doing the business side.
Yeah, he'll help with the business side. But like I said to you, I'm going to try and train up my friends.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
So
if last time I spoke to you, I think we bumped into each other on a night out, and I just started like ramming you with business advice in the smoking area because this is what I do. I thought it'd be good to take this to a more professional platform. And that's why I'm doing this podcast as well, because I'm having these conversations with people all the time, but I'm just not sharing these conversations. So one thing that I think that Ryo's done really, really well is building a demand. So you can be kind of mad at yourself for it, but wow, like this is what every person that makes something with their hands like dreams of, is that people are just like dying for their next, but you're using the word drop for anyone that doesn't understand that, like a batch, batch of products. How many's in a batch?
So it could be up to 80.
Okay, right.
And that's like every 2 weeks. So if you can imagine by hand how
much that takes.
Wow. I go to bed at 4 a.m. probably every night,
Okay. So this is amazing. You're making really good money. You're living the dream, but it's not sustainable. And also, when people say they make the really good money, when you work out their hours, you have to also work out their hourly rate.
I have not even.
So, like my husband always used to say, like, oh yeah, I earn this much money a year, but he used to work a 6-day week. And I'm like, you really can't tell people you earn that. You should tell people you earn your 5-day week figure, because that's like your overtime. That's not your foundation. Anyway, so coming back to demand, right? There's a book that I wanted to share with everyone, which you don't need to read because clearly you've done this bit really well. It's called Oversubscribed. And it's for anyone that's trying to build, I guess, what you have done really well, which is this like fear of missing out. Oh my God, I need this product, because people want what other people want. If they, if it seems like other people want to get their hands on it, they want it. And they don't even know why. Like Glastonbury do that really well. Like, why is this always this queue for Glastonbury when the tickets are released? Why do they email and say, 2 more days and 1 more day and blah, blah, blah. Like they do it to build up this tension, which is why I know a few people follow me because of online courses. Online courses, there are courses called Evergreen. It means they're always on sale. And Evergreen can be really difficult to sell because it's always available. Whereas if you have a one-time course that's launched on that day and you only have so many places, which is kind of not true, is it? Because on online, you don't have so many places. You can sell more. But often you'll see an online course being sold with only 50 places because they don't want to tell you that anyone and everyone can come because it's not exclusive. So anyway, anyone listening, get reading that Oversubscribed book. So you've got the demand, which is amazing. I think the last conversation we had when we were in the smoking area was about a mailing list. So I was like mad at you because I remember thinking every time someone can't get your product, you're not capturing their data.
Mm.
But I looked on your website yesterday.
Proud.
I was.
Okay.
So when did you do that?
I think it was after you sent me a message to be like, you still haven't done it. And I was like, all right, okay. And I messaged my friend who, she helped me so much, my friend Lorna. She helped me like make the website look really like, fancy, and she knows how to like, change and code things. So I said, could we do that? Unfortunately, it's gone into people's spam. I don't know how to change that. But
Okay. All right. We'll work on that bit.
yeah.
But data collection has got to be like one of the most important things. And I don't know if I've probably like blurted this to you on a voice note before, but let me say it for everybody else's benefit. The data collection isn't for now. It's for when this slows down. And I hate to be the bearer of the bad news. I mean, you probably wouldn't mind a bit of slowing down right now, but your demand will decrease at some point. Things are hot for a period of time and they cool slightly. And the strategies that you're doing now are to sort you out in that 5-year time, not now. And I know for you, that's like, oh my God, I'm not thinking about 5 years, but you should. So the data collection is, if you can get X amount of thousands of people, you've got their email addresses, then at some point you might have to work a bit harder for this and you'll be ready for that. Whereas, I don't know, let's just say in 2 years' time, it starts to dry up and you're like, oh shit, or your social media account gets deleted, or do you know what I mean? Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Like you need alternative ways to get in contact with people. So I am so grateful that you're doing that.
Yeah, I think, like you said, because Instagram can do that. They can just
just delete
it
it.
feels very just
Scary.
fragile.
It's fragile.
Yeah, because your photo gets reported and then you've lost your business on the site.
So let's go into the making process, right? So you're only one person. The annoying thing and the fabulous thing about what you're doing is it's exclusive, it's by your hands, it's all of those things, but also the unsustainable way that you're working. So you said that you've got someone else coming on board.
Yeah.
I am interested about that because I've been having some thoughts about how you might be able to scale this better.
It's nice that we haven't talked about business since that time. So it's like we got to catch up on all this, which is really nice.
Yeah, we've actually had other conversations. I'm sorry, I will stop bombarding you. Whenever my friends take on, this is why I've done this whole podcast, because when my friends take on new businesses, they will get a voice note from me every now and then
really
being like, I don't like, this is what I do anyway.
It's like, where's your mailing list?
I know you didn't ask for this, but that social media post, there was no call to action. Why did you do that? But yeah, let's go through the process. Okay, so this is what I've been thinking, right? So yes, I think what you're about to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you're going to pay someone to come in and help make these with you, and you're going to pay them an hourly rate. Yeah. Have you done much calculations of like how much you're going to pay them per month, or how much many more you can make? Have you done that yet?
That sounds very business-minded.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so very foundations that we're going to need to do is, before I move on to the next thing, is 20 hours. That's going to cost you how much money? I don't know, £10 an hour, £200, whatever you're going to pay. Then you need to work out how many more items you would need to sell in order to just break even. Because what happens at this point, the middle growth actually is really rubbish until you get a lot bigger. So you usually can make more money when you stay really small. And then when you go that like the middle period, you end up spending so much money on stuff. You work double, even harder than you were at the start, and you don't make any more money. So the calculation you have to do is how many more do I have to sell to pay her wages? And then you need to do at least 50% on top of that. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you are going to spend all that time teaching her, right? You're going to get her trained up, you're going to pay her, and you're going to come out square by the end of the month. So after this, we will sit down and we will do a calculation because I've done this myself where I have started to pay for all these extra things and I haven't made any more money by the end of it. The other way that I thought you could do this, which could be really quite interesting, is to have Ryo, like Love Rocks, but by Ryo as your premium range. And then maybe have like the Ryo tribe or the Ryo family that might be like your simpler range that you have in stock more often.
Yeah, that's
so. Is that what you're gonna? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
So, great minds. So tell me about that. Tell me about that.
So I was trying to work out the most, I guess, efficient way of using her time.
Yeah.
So I was trying to work it out, and I was thinking, well, the nights, the days, the kind of like the classic range that wouldn't need any extra training of how they do all the like the more special ones. So I was thinking if I can get her to have and just concentrate on those, so you could just have this kind of like the general range that's more stock of them, because she can concentrate on that, because I can only make so many a time, and I'm creatively making I don't even know how many, it's just ridiculous. I make so many different varieties because that's how my ADHD brain works.
Yeah. You just get bored and you move on.
Yeah, I want to be creative. I want to do this. I want to make that. Oh, I've done chokers. Oh, I've made earrings. I'm just like, my brain wants to go to the next step. So I'm like, if I can give her the job of just creating the stock, and then I'll have more stock, so people won't be so disappointed. And I feel like that's the best move. I'm not
100%. Yeah, I think it's such a good idea. I think it's still under your branding. There's things that are more readily available, because sometimes people just want to purchase and they're not too fussy. They just want one now. And what I fear is the way that you're doing things is so brilliant in the way that you get the excitement, but the quick purchases you're losing. And I think that could be the other thing that could be really helpful is an add-on. So when you buy a big purchase, to see if there's a small thing you can buy.
Yeah, so I actually went into that yesterday.
Yes, I'm so proud of you. Come on.
So I messaged my friend Lorna, because I have like little chain earrings that are just a very simple chain ones. So not these ones, but just like layers of chain that I just sell for £12. And I'm like, so if you buy them, and because, like I said, it's a frenzy at the moment, no one has time to go, I'll go check the earring section.
No, they're just like, purchase.
The addresses are wrong. Everything's wrong. It's just, it's crazy. So I'm like, if they could just go add on, then they can just add that on. And that's like really easy for me. Like, that's just like nothing. So.
Amazing. In other terms, in other kind of businesses, they explain it a bit like, I don't know, when you're in Primark and you're like, oh, I'll take that makeup brush. Or like, they call it like
when
the
you go to the till and you're like, oh, I need face wipes.
Or like the candy at the checkout. They always put the chocolate at the front, don't they? And this is the same in so many different business models. It's even the same in like, I do online learning. I'll always make sure, or often when I can, there's like a cheaper add-on product that you can always add on. And, if that's just an extra £10, an extra £20, that is hugely beneficial. You're not putting more time into it.
Anything, because that's what I'm trying to work out at the moment. So, because my hands get to the point where I've like lost the skin. Like I worked so hard that I'm like, I need to work out a way, because this is, like you said, not sustainable, because I work so much with my hands. It's so painful. So
painful, actually painful.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Babe.
Yeah, like really painful.
Yeah.
So, like I have these, like I call them finger condoms, but because I work so hard, they're literally like broken, and like, because I'm literally just like constantly like working with my hands. So I was thinking of like having some things, because I've designed like harnesses and outfits for my concept photo shoots, and people really like that. And I'm like, well, how about I design things so I can get them like manufactured?
Yes.
So like, things for phone cases and different kind of things that are on my brand that I've designed. And then I've invested. It's there, and then people can like buy that and maybe put that online earlier, because that doesn't take any of my time or hurt my hands, so people can add it to their cart when it goes on. I can see your
my face is like, oh, this is so sexy. Yes, talk to me more. Yes, this is amazing. But this proves that your brain is like, you're learning. But yeah, at the end of the day, when I buy a dress from Vivienne Westwood, I am not... She didn't sew my dress, but I'm buying her. I'm buying into her design, but I'm also buying into what her lifestyle. I'm buying into her story. I'm buying into what she stands for, all of it, and that's where you can go, which is amazing.
A question I've always, because like someone like Dolls Kill or something, like if they wanted to stock my brand, I would have to get it to a point where it's less handmade and more in a more manufactured way.
Do you know I've spoken to the owner of Dolls Girl? Yeah. We were both being really heavily trolled online during lockdown.
Really?
So we kind of connected in a hey, this sucks.
Yeah, this sucks.
How much therapy are you going through right now?
How much therapy are you going through?
So I'm not even going to pretend I have a connection, but I have a previous conversation. But I agree that's. Would Dolls Kill do like a small? We're going to have to wrap this up, babe.
I know.
Okay, but what? One more. Like, would Dolls Kill do like a small range? Like, would they do like a one-off?
I think if I had like, let's say the nights, like just the standard kind of ones, but in the question I would wonder is, in the future, if I was just the version that I could imagine, maybe if I was designing and not hand making them, would people still buy them if they weren't cool? Like it's not like this was completely handmade. This was like,
if you were outsourcing this to a factory in China now, not at this part in your story, right?
Yeah.
If it's you and your mate in your living room or wherever you are, yes,
I mean, like,
or if it's you and 5 mates in a
That's
little
what
studio
I'm
that you've
imagining,
made. Yeah, that is
So I'm
still,
still designing them and just like being like,
honey, it's still not ASOS. It's still, no. You're miles off that.
okay,
Definitely. It's
okay.
you as a human with
I was just
5
thinking it's not my
employees.
hands anymore. If it ever got to the point where I was designing them, and then I want to hire all my friends so they can just.
But then you could still do the odd single drop that's like this, like one handmade by you.
That's what I want to do. Yeah, like the ones with like the butterflies, because I have to like they take so long. I dry the flowers from scratch. I steam the butterflies. I pin them for 2 weeks. There's a lot that goes into those ones. So I'm like, those are like the special ones that I can really concentrate on instead of just trying to make so many at the time. So yeah,
babe, I'll have to stop us.
I know. I'm gonna just.
Okay, so can I just wrap this up in saying, this is someone that has really struggled with their confidence, that often doesn't think they're good enough, that's doing all these incredible things, that are living dreams that they never thought that they would. This is probably going to be the most inspirational person I'll ever have on these podcasts. Your story is so important. And I'm proud to know you. And I think everyone listening is going to feel like they can do it because of listening to you. So thank you.